Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Eastbourne. Fabulous. We are delighted. This is the first in a series of workshops that we're going to be doing on behalf of East Sussex Growth Hub, funded by East Sussex County Council. My name is David Taylor. I am Head of Operations at Portobello Business Centre, and I have 30 years in comms.
And I'm Sheila Sharma, and I'm the CEO and Chair of Portobello Business Centre, and I have a background in finance and in taking startups to venture capital funding. Okay, so we're really excited to introduce this series of 6 workshops to you, as we said, delivered by Portobello Business Centre. Please come in. And East Sussex County Council and East Sussex Growth Hub. It's a particularly focused set of workshops for SMEs, which is why you're all here, hopefully. And it's been a real pleasure for us to develop this along with the 2 other organisations we're working with. So Portobello Business Centre has existed for over 30 years, and so we've worked with thousands of businesses over that time. And there are common themes that come up again and again. And no matter what stage a business is at, we know that digital skills make a huge difference to the visibility and the growth of businesses. And so this series is specifically about supporting all of you, the founders behind local SMEs in East Sussex, with the practical skills you need to be able to bring your business up to the level that you want to bring it up, to bring your knowledge up to the level you want to bring it up in terms of digital savviness.
So we've got 3 key aims today, and this is, as I said, the taster workshop, but it's leading on to the others. So what we want to do is understand the digital landscape. So East Sussex County Council have approached us and said, we believe that businesses in the county need help with digital skills, and therefore we think it's useful to understand what is the landscape, because a lot of businesses heads down all the time and say, look, you know, I'm too busy. I can't learn new stuff. But things are changing and you could easily get overwhelmed. We want to look at some of the challenges, therefore, and opportunities which are available for businesses now. With the digital, you're always going to have some issues. A lot of people are very scared about AI, but equally we know there are a lot of very, very small micro businesses which are using AI very successfully. So there's 2 sides to that. And then what we're going to do is we're actually going to preview the 6 workshops. Now, you've got in sort of best workshop and teacher mode, you've got some homework in front of you. So what we want to do is, as we're going through and previewing the 6 workshops, I'd like you to think about your own business and answer the questions truthfully. And by the end of today, you'll then, on the back of that diagnostic sheet, you'll have an action plan. And on that action plan, it will say, what are the things that you need to do in your business? What is the priority? Is it high, medium, or low? And what workshop may be of benefit for you? So we understand that for many small businesses, taking time out of your business is a cost. And therefore, if you're going to take time out of your business, it's an investment. So are you going to get something from that investment?
Okay, so before we actually go into the details of the workshops today, I just want to kind of summarise what you should expect to take away from today's introductory session. So the first thing is that you'll leave with a set of practical actions that you can apply to your business straight away and to better understand your business's digital effectiveness. You'll also get a very clear sense of how effective your current marketing strategy is. Now, most SMEs feel like they're doing more than ever online, but most don't know what's working and what's not working, what's actually leading to sales at the end of the day. And then thirdly, you'll leave with a very clear understanding of which of the upcoming workshops will deliver the most value for you. We know that you're all very busy. You might not be able to attend all 6 of the workshops. So as we said, with the toolkit, and the details that we're going to give you about each workshop. You should have a very clear idea today about what you're going to do once you leave this workshop today.
So this always makes me laugh. So I've been doing digital training for about 15 years, and there have been variations on this slide over those years, and it's fascinating how they've moved. One thing I will tell you, so 2013 I wrote a book called The Business of Being Social, and at the time it was the best-selling social media book for business in the country. Sheila and I recently gave a talk in London, and the title of the talk was Social Media's Dead, What Are You Going to Do About It? Now, it's a little bit of a clickbaity title, but that in itself is going to tell you something. But it just shows how things change. If I go further back, I started my career on a manual typewriter in a newspaper. So I literally had a manual typewriter and a spike on my desk and a hot metal press behind me. So I remember the old world, and in many ways, things go through cycles. I know there'll be small businesses saying, oh, if you wait long enough, the new tech will disappear and we can go back how we used to be. So it's sort of a little bit like that. But marketing is shifting fast. I'm going to take you around a little bit of this landscape. So you've got ChatGPT. So ChatGPT is obviously now becoming a bona fide business tool of absolute importance. And we are at PBC, every client who comes into us, even if they are an aspirational entrepreneur, we're telling them you need to understand how GPT works and how it can work for you. TikTok, now interestingly, GPT and TikTok, you may not realize those two are essentially search engines now. So they are competitors to Google. So anyone under 25, TikTok is Google. So we have a 21-year-old, fantastic 21-year-old apprentice at work, and she does most of her search on TikTok, but equally on GPT as well. So some of you, when you look at your Google Analytics, will notice that some of the traffic to your website is actually coming from GPT now.
And can I just say on that, our marketing apprentice, just because she does all of her searching on TikTok doesn't mean she gets it right. Many times we have to correct her about the sources of information and the sources of news that she gets from TikTok. But we have to put that aside because that is still, regardless, where they're getting their information from.
We've also, I referenced it a minute ago, clickbait. So clickbait, it's really sort of infecting everything in marketing now. So to the extent where if you want to get cut through, you almost have to come up with clickbaity type titles. Hence the reason I said social media is dead, what are you going to do about it? If I said, oh, marketing is changing and what are you going to do about it? It's like, no, that's boring and it won't get any cut through. Therefore, you have to understand. But equally, you might notice that you're getting traffic to your website, but you might notice that a lot of that traffic, they're only spending a second on your website, which means your traffic is clickbait traffic. It's just people clicking on something and they're not interested at all. We've got automation happening more and more. So things like chatbots, things like adding in, so chatbots into your website. You've got automation within customer relationship management systems. Google Local. So Google Local has become absolutely key now. And our colleague Greg, who's a senior business advisor, he spends a lot of his time with businesses saying if you concentrate on your Google business profile, that's going to bring you money. Whereas spending hours messing about on Instagram might get you absolutely nothing at all. So the Google business profile, and we're going to cover this, and that is very much the subject of one of the workshops. We're going to go deep dive into everything you ever know about Google business profile. The great thing about Google business profile, it costs nothing.
Just want to say one more thing about that slide before we move on, David, is that I was at a talk recently where somebody said to me, forget millennials, forget Gen Z, we are all the T generation. The generation that's experiencing transformation. There is so much going on with social media, so many changes going on with social media, so many changes going on because of the rise of AI, that nobody really knows how to figure that space out right now. We've noticed it. I remember if I posted a really valid post on LinkedIn just a year and a half ago, I would get lots of people clicking through, lots of contacts, lots of non-contacts. The way the algorithms are now, and because so many people are posting, it used to be that you were the exception if you were posting, but now because everybody's posting the same. If you get 1% of likes to your LinkedIn post, you're doing really, really well. So if you think about the maximum number of connections you can have on LinkedIn, it's 30,000. If you've got a pool of 30,000, if you get 300 clicks out of that, you're lucky. The average person has 1,500 contacts on LinkedIn. I have 3,000. I've built that up because of PBC. If I get 30 likes to a LinkedIn post that's probably taken me, because I'm not a marketing professional, about 2 hours to put together, that is now good. And that is really frustrating at the same time, because if that's where your business is investing time and money, it doesn't feel very productive.
So I'm going to go... So,
Will you have a workshop on LinkedIn by any chance?
Not on LinkedIn, but on social media in general.
Okay.
so I'm going to take Sheila's LinkedIn story a step further. I can tell you, Sheila is going to be getting a puppy. Now...
It's not a Christmas puppy, I just like to say that.
So this is the state of LinkedIn, if you like. So if Sheila were to write an incredible thought leadership article talking about women in business, opportunities for young female entrepreneurs to get ahead, to get funding, what are the challenges they face? Brilliant article, really, really insightful. If she created that article, if she then did a picture of her cuddling her new puppy, the algorithm on LinkedIn would reward the puppy one, but not the thought leadership one. So therefore you think, okay, something has shifted. Now, LinkedIn is still incredibly important, but it just shows that it's not a level playing field. And if you think, but that was a really great piece of content, but it's like, yeah, but they're starting, it's like people saying, is my daughter on her graduation? It's like, stick it on WhatsApp. Why are you putting it on LinkedIn?
I got a degree.
But I'm getting likes. I'm getting likes and I'm getting clicks, but it's like, yeah, but it's not helping your business at all.
And that wasn't the purpose of that platform. That platform was supposed to be for businesses to share information for you as somebody who works in a business with other like-minded people who also work in business. And it's completely changing. So we are the transformational generation, all of us collectively.
So what we've got is, so AI is reshaping everything. And it is changing the whole marketing landscape, and particularly and I would argue in many ways that AI is almost the final nail in the coffin for social media, because you're now trying to figure out, everything seems to be generated automatically. So what's the point? It's not social, it's not real, it's not authentic. And that's something we're also going to be covering in the content workshop. Also, there are a lot of businesses saying, look, there's all this tech, but I don't understand most of it. It's so complicated. My 17-year-old son said something really interesting to me. He said, Dad, it seems to me the more sophisticated and clever these programs to get, the worse the user interface is. Therefore, it's harder and harder. I use a program called HubSpot with the client. Now, HubSpot is incredible, but you need to have a degree in computer science to work it, because it's being made by techies. And it's saying, yeah, every business owner should be using a smart CRM. How? You know, I'm a marketer and I struggle, and I'm having to spend hours on ChatGPT saying, what the hell is that doing? Why is that there and not there? Why is that not working?
But more importantly, if you're the founder of a business or the leader of a business, when do you find the time and the capacity to become an expert in all these other areas? Okay. So we've said that one of the biggest frustrations we're hearing about is around social media and how it actually converts into sales. And lots of businesses are posting regularly, as we said, putting in the hours, investing money, but not seeing that translate into inquiries or revenues. This is not really surprising when research shows that 52% of adults in the UK don't have a basic understanding of digital, any aspect of digital in the UK. So what does that do for you as a business? You're already on the back foot if nearly half of your employees don't even have the basics to support you with using digital tools or being digitally effective. Another common challenge is feeling overwhelmed by tech and data for all the reasons that David just said. There are so many platforms, there are so many tools, dashboards, and it can all just feel a little bit impossible at times. And what we're going to do is look at how to make sense of it all in one of our workshops too, and at the same time how to be cost effective, because cost effectiveness is actually one of the most critical elements for businesses that are at the small or medium stage. Many business owners are also telling us that they're unsure what's working and what's not working in their marketing for the reasons we've already mentioned. And it's hard to know what to prioritize. And then, of course, there's the challenge of standing out. As we said, everyone's doing the same and everyone's doing a lot of it automated and generated by AI. So competition is increasing in some senses. But also then there's been the pandemic. That has also made a big difference. The rise of ChatGPT and other AI platforms, and a multitude of platforms, and which ones do you use? So customers' expectations have shifted, and trying to stay visible as a business has become incredibly complex. And we hear it all the time. Businesses telling us that they're putting in so much effort, they're not seeing the return, it's not working, so why should I bother? But the really important thing is, the truth is that you can't actually afford to do nothing as an SME.
So, again, in my experience and also experience of PBC, we work with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of businesses. A lot of them are sole traders and are quite happy staying where they are. They're saying, look, I don't need to grow. It's not about growth and opening new stores and everything like that. I'm just quite happy where I am. But as we all know, you have to, in order to stand still, you have to keep running, because everything keeps changing all the time. You've got disruptors coming in, challenges coming in, and literally deciding you're going to do nothing is essentially saying I'm setting a time limit on my business. And one of the things I've found over the years, is certainly older business owners are getting to the stage where, do you know what, I'm just going to fold my business. I'll give you an example. I've worked extensively with bookkeepers, and a lot of older bookkeepers, because of AML, anti-money laundering, and having to do more due diligence and governance and data analysis with clients, they said, do you know what, I'm out, I've had enough, I can't bother, I don't want to do this anymore, and they've retired. But that's not really an option for many people who are running a business now. So if you decide to do nothing, these are some of the problems you're going to have. You're going to have weak online visibility. If people can't find you, so I'll give you the example of that cake shop. You've got 2 cake shops. Bear in mind, Google Business Profile is free. So one cake shop, they'd do nothing. Oh, I'm on Google. I.e. they think that if you search on normal Google search engine, you search for cake shop, they're going to come up with it. So they haven't really done anything with the Google Business Profile. You've got another cake shop who invest a lot of time in making sure that Google Business Profile is really, really good. So I am in a place, I'm in Lincoln, and I'm on my bike when I have had my hip done. And I go into Lincoln and I think, I'm hungry, I'm thirsty. So I literally go into Google Maps and I put coffee cake. And what's going to come up is the one with the highest rating on Google and the best Google Business Profile. So again, I go back to what I was talking about with my colleague Greg. If you've got a good Google Business Profile with great reviews and lots of information on it, people are going to go to you. They're going to go to you and they're going to spend money. And that's money in the bank account. Isn't that what business is all about? So again, that's a good example there. You've also got missed opportunities. If you, for again, using the Google analogy, if you don't have a Google business profile, no one can find you locally. So there's loads of people who could be wanting coffee and cake, but they never come to you because you haven't bothered with it. You're going to get fewer sales, and inexorably, because everything is changing. The same thing as Sheila was talking about with sort of Generation Z. They're looking on TikTok now, and they're looking on GPT, and you're not deciding, I don't want to play with these generations, and I don't understand, and they're just glued to their phone all day. But they are your customers. So if you don't engage them, your sales are going to go down and down and down, because you're essentially saying we're not interested in any customers under 25. But they are a big buying public.
And it's not that our generation are not doing that. We're just doing it on different platforms. So, for example, I will look on Trustpilot and I will look at Google reviews. If I want to buy a product from a particular company, or I want to visit a certain location, I will look at typically Trustpilot and the reviews that people have left. Or if I go onto Amazon, I'll be looking at the reviews there. Or if it's John Lewis, I'll be looking. So we're all looking at reviews. So we have to remember that people are doing the same when it comes to our own businesses. And it doesn't really matter whether we're a service business or a product-based business. People are looking for reviews.
And the final one is you're falling behind competitors, whether those competitors are human or digital. And there are always going to be disruptors, and we know this. So again, using the example of bookkeepers. With bookkeepers, there's a very strong argument to suggest in 5 years, you won't need a bookkeeper, because everything will be integrated. Your Xero will be integrated into your Salesforce, and everything will go through it. And so every transaction is automatically notated into your P&L, and therefore a report is generated. Therefore, so if you're a bookkeeper, you're saying, oh, we're fine, I've got great clients. But those clients saying, but I'm paying you £200 a month, but I could do it automatically through my Xero, so why would I need you? And therefore, what I was arguing with the bookkeepers is, why don't you become business advisors? Because you've got access to their data. So rather than saying they're your books, it's like, oh, I've noticed that your sales have gone down. Why have they gone down? But a lot of those bookkeepers are really, really change averse, and therefore they don't want to do it. And therefore they do, and therefore that tech is going to. But equally, you've got youngsters, and the new business landscape just baffles me in some ways. Does anyone know about Spudman? So there's Spudman. So there's a man who sells baked potatoes. So people have flown in from Germany to go to a Spud van. And it's like, what is happening in the world? Because he became a TikTok sensation. So he was on TikTok and he'd be going, oh yeah, bish bosh, I'm going to do another Spud, and with a bit of baked beans on this one. And it's, people watch any old rubbish on TikTok, but he's become a TikTok sensation. There's queues around the block, and the business has taken off. So you've got, you will have hundreds of people having cafes selling baked potatoes all around the country. But why are they not TikTok sensations?
Because he's good at marketing.
And that's something we'll come back to. Pardon?
It's good for him.
Yeah.
It's good for him. David might find him annoying, but it's the Spudman business is doing absolutely fantastically, because he's doing something different, even if that is annoying people to the point of getting their attention for his TikTok videos. He's being different. Okay, so now that we told you about the challenges and the consequences of not being digitally savvy, I just want to walk you through very quickly the 6 workshops and how they fit together. There is a very clear flow between them, and that's why they're in this order. In the knowledge of one builds on the next. Now, you don't have to attend all of them. You might not want to start here. You might be very good with your website. You might want to then start there. That is up to you. You can attend as many or as few as you like. But this is where your toolkit comes into play as well. As we walk through the workshops, have a think about what your responses to the questions there are. So let's start with marketing and visibility. And what I want to do here is in terms of talking about your website, I want to apply the analogy of a shop front. So the easiest way to understand your window or to understand your website is to think of it as a shop window. So workshop 1 is itself looking at your shop window. How effective is your shop window? Does it truly reflect who you are as a business? And is it doing the job that you need it to do? And if that is to generate interest, is it doing that? If it's to generate sales, is it doing that? Once you have your website doing what you want it to do, we move on to Google, which David has already talked about to some degree. If your website is your shop window, Google is your high street. Think of it that way. So what you want to know is, how easy is it for people to find your shop on the high street? Because if customers can't find you, they just can't buy from you. It's as simple as that. Workshop 3 is all about content, and it explores how interesting and engaging your shop window is. Think of someone walking past that shop window, walking past your website. Does that see them wanting to stop and come into your website? And David was talking about earlier, people are visiting websites or visiting posts, but only spending a second there. If they're only spending a second there, they're not making whatever the next decision is. For example, is that a buying decision? So are they coming in or are they walking straight past? Then we move on to efficiency and tools. So workshop 4 looks at AI and automation. We've talked quite a lot about transformational generation and such. And so using the same analogy, think of how effective in your shop is your stock taking. How well is your team managing the day-to-day running of the business? Automation can help you save time. It can help you reduce errors. It can help you focus your energy and your money where you can actually drive growth. And then workshop 5, that one's all about data. And this looks at how effectively you're monitoring your stock and your sales. In other words, how well do you understand what's really happening in your business? Are you making decisions based on gut feel or what you think you know? Or actually, are you making decisions about the future of your business based on evidence? And how is that informing you around the future of your business and the decisions you make around that? And then finally, and really importantly, we talk about security and cyber safety. So workshop 6 asks the question, how secure is your shop window? And this one is really important. I want to tell you a little bit about an incident that happened to us at Portobello Business Centre. So last year, on the 1st of January, our business was hacked. Of course, that was New Year's Day. We didn't know. We came back into work on the 3rd of January, and clients were absolutely screaming at us down the phone. Somebody had hacked into our Stripe account and was billing customers hundreds and thousands of pounds. And the more time was going by, the more confident they were getting. Now, I'd only been CEO for a couple of months at that point, and so there had been no cybersecurity handover. There hadn't, because the previous CEO hadn't put a process in place. So not only were customers screaming at us, but interestingly, we are a B2B business. All of our clients are business owners. The clients that were calling us were incredibly angry. And when I was telling them what had happened, they were telling me that I was making it up. And that is because they didn't understand that a business of our size or their size could even be hacked. So there I am. For the first 2 or 3 days, I think I'm talking to Stripe and I think I'm dealing with Stripe customer service. But not only had the hacker hacked into our Stripe account, they'd hacked into our email account. So I think I'm talking to Stripe, but I'm actually talking to the hacker for the first 3 days. Now, I think we got away really lucky, because at the end of the day, we managed to get through to actual Stripe, shut the Stripe account down, get the banks to refund everybody. But you might not be so lucky. And the problem is that if that's extensive, and in our case, it was only 4 or 5 customers and we got all their money back. If it's extensive, it's your reputation that's being damaged as well. So how well do you understand the security around your website, around your devices, around your customer data, and how vulnerable is your business? And Just like some of the areas we've talked about, cyber safety, it's not optional, it's absolutely essential. So as we said, you can attend as few or as many of these workshops as you like. And now we're going to go into the detail of the individual workshops.
So you just want to clarify the point about LinkedIn. There's two things. Firstly, if you're interested in LinkedIn, speak to Fred, because I'm sure that the Growth Hub can help in some way with LinkedIn. The other thing I would say is that if you're going to be on LinkedIn, you still need content. And if you think, oh, I'm on LinkedIn now, I don't know what to post, that's why it's useful to do. What we're not doing is we're not going to individual social media accounts, because that would take forever and a day. Therefore, we were choosing, if you've got great content, you've got options and you can use. It's like having a fully stocked larder in the kitchen. You can make stuff, but if you can't, you might have a wonderful recipe book, but if you've got no ingredients, you're not going to do it. So come with that. So websites, it's interesting. This is a slide, an infographic I actually created probably well over 12 years ago. Essentially, websites are still absolutely vitally important. As Sheila said, we've got our marketing apprentice, and she's going to be on TikTok, and she's going to be on GPT, and she might be on Insta, etc. More often than not, they're going to go to a website because they're going to buy something. Therefore, a website is still vitally important. The purpose of a website has changed, and the user interface and the user journey of a website is as important as anything now. So again, a website might look fantastic and whizzy and it's got bells and whistles on and it's, oh yeah, we love our website. But then you'll find that people can't use it because they're trying to go through this journey and it's complicated. They have to click lots of times or they can't find the link and everything like that. So, and if you think, your average person is going to look at an average website, probably on their phone, and probably you've got 5 or 10 seconds to get them engaged. So if they're flicking through it like this really quickly, if your website's not really good, you've lost them. And what we'll see is you'll be able to measure how many people you've lost. But it is and should be the driver and interface of all your marketing still. And whether you are an e-commerce website, whether you're an e-commerce business or you're just a local business, people are going to look at your website. So on your sheet, we've got 4 questions I'd like you to think about. And please answer truthfully. So, have you reviewed the analytics of your website in the last 6 months? And more importantly, do you understand them? Because lots of business owners I've said, oh yeah, we've got analytics. Have you looked at them? Yes. Do you understand them? No. So there's absolutely no point at all.
And that's really important around your user journey as well. So if your user journey isn't working, your analytics will show that. Before they get to the end point of buying a service or booking a service, they will stop at some point in clicking through to the next page. So do you understand that? Do you have multiple user journeys on your website and do you understand all of them?
And by the way, before a lot of people say, well, I don't understand Google, I've got a Shopify website or I've got Squarespace. Every website provider has some form of analytics and they are free. And so everyone who has a website should be able to look somewhere and find some data about how that website or thing is doing. So then do you or any one of your staff or maybe your customers, do they think your site is fit for purpose genuinely in 2026? So you need to be very brutal. I mean, again, if your website is over 5 years old, it's a little bit like if you've got a car and you think, okay, I'm going to make my car slightly newer. I'm going to put wider wheels on it and a bigger engine. I'm going to put a spoiler in it, and then you're spending all this money, and then it ends up looking like a ridiculous boy racer. And you think, actually, it would have been easier just to get a new car. So websites are critical. The great thing is, over the years, the amount of money you have to spend on a really good website has gone down and down and down and down and down and down. So if you have something like Wix or Shopify, which are like off-the-shelf websites, you're spending, less than 100 quid a month on something which is brilliant and it does everything you need it to do. Whereas years ago, you'd have spent thousands of pounds with a web designer and then you'd have had a website which didn't work because you didn't know what you wanted to ask the web designer.
And then you pay a few more £1,000 as we did for our new website, getting somebody who understands user journeys to understand whether that's working. And even they don't get it right. You have to be on top of it.
And is your website delivering on what it was designed for? So again, this is an interesting one. A lot of people think, website sales. But for lots and lots and lots of local businesses, the website is a lead conversion tool. So in our experience, vast majority micro businesses get most of their business word of mouth and referral. And therefore, when they get a referral, that person is going to look at the website to say, are they the people I've been referred to, and are they any good? And then you could look at the website and there might be a Trustpilot rating. Yeah, that's fine. Therefore, it converts that lead. But it might be just for education. It might be literally for client engagement. Or the website will do different things. But a lot of people say, I just got to have a website. What's it for? Oh, I don't know. You just got to have a website. But that's not particularly good. And finally, I think as Sheila's alluded to, have you tested the user journey? We've got a brilliant new member of staff who is so brilliantly analytical, and she went through our website with and said that doesn't go there, and that doesn't make sense, and that wording doesn't make sense, and we've changed it all, and it means that it's just so well streamlined now, and therefore it's easier to use, and if it's easier to use, people stay on it. If they stay on it, they're going to buy from you. So those are 4 questions you need to ask yourself. So this workshop, I will be delivering it with my colleague Greg, and what Greg doesn't know about websites is not worth knowing. And we're going to look through all the facets of a website, what it needs to do, how does it work, and how can you make it better? Or indeed, whether you need a new one, and what do you invest in, and where do you invest? So the second one, as I said, is standing out on Google. And the whole of this workshop is all about Google business profiles. It's the fascinating journey for me, being full-time at PBC, having been a social media trainer over all these years, was this realization from talking to my colleague that investment in a Google business profile is so much better than investment in social media, because it's going to get you, particularly if you're a micro local business, it's going to get you work. And ultimately, a small business, that's all they need. That's all they want to know. Is it going to get me business? If it's not, I can't be bothered. And it's a direct correlation. So the Google business profile, just to go back slightly, so obviously Google has been around a very long time, and it used to be you go onto a desktop and you'd go to google.com, and then there'd be a bar and you'd look in the search bar, and then it moved, so you went into the search bar. On the right hand side there used to be the Google ads where people were paying for placement on ads, and then the page evolved again where you started getting local businesses coming up, and then the paid, and then the organic search. And now you're getting Google's own AI coming first, and then the local, and then the paid, and so. But then equally, you've got maps, and most people will have maps on their phone. And when you have maps on your phone, that becomes your Google interface. So literally, you're somewhere and you're going restaurant, or you're going hotel, or you're going hairdresser, and it's like what comes up, and if the business comes up easy, it's got good reviews, you can see the opening hours, you can see the pictures, you can see the directions, and it tells you how to get there. What more do you want? It's great. So we're going to look at this whole idea what a Google business profile is. So your checklist really is to think about Do you have a Google business profile? Because a lot of businesses don't have one because they don't really know about it. Next question would be, have you updated your Google business profile in the last 6 months? What Greg, my colleague, is saying is that realistically, you should be thinking about your Google business profile like it was a social media site, and therefore it needs to be updated. Because what Google loves, because Google is an algorithm, and algorithms are all the same, is they are desperate for fresh, new content. So if you're adding fresh, new content to your Google business profile, you will be rewarded by visibility because people can find you. Another question, was your last review less than a month ago? So again, I've worked with many clients, and you look and their reviews, they go through a bit of a flurry. Oh, we must do Google reviews, and they've got a load of Google reviews, and they're about 3 years ago. It's no use to man or beast. So if your last review was over a month ago, you've got to be thinking about what you're going to do. But also, you need to think about, have you reviewed your competitors' Google? So again, I've worked with many clients, and they said, oh, we can't get Google reviews. It's like, well, why are your competitors getting them? What's different about your competitor? Your competitor does exactly the same as you, and they've got loads of reviews, and they're really good reviews, they're really high up, and they're coming first on Google. So why are they doing it? And you're not? Because they're motivated and they actually have a strategy, because you actually have to have a marketing strategy to get reviews so people can write reviews so they can put them on Google. So that is part of a marketing strategy now. It's like saying, we've got Google. It's like, yeah, but no one's reviewing you. Oh, but why aren't they reviewing us? Because you're not making it easy and you don't have a strategy. So those are, again, some questions you need to think about, because if your Google business profile isn't up to scratch, you're missing out. Simple as that. Then we come to content. So I'm deliberately, going back to what I was saying about LinkedIn, I'm deliberately not focusing on all the myriad of social media sites. Facebook, Instagram, Reddit, LinkedIn, TikTok, Pinterest, all of them. At the end of the day, they are just channels. And all of these channels need content. And if you don't have content, there's no point using any of them. No point sending emails out. No point trying to make sure your website's great. No point trying to make sure your Google business profile is okay. Because if you don't have content, you are a cook without ingredients. As simple as that. But as we're seeing, and as Sheila has alluded to, it's getting hard. It's like an arms race. If you think about the old Cold War, you'd have country A would get a super weapon, and they had advantage, but then country B also got that super weapon, but a little bit better. So country A had to get an even better super weapon, and they go backwards and forwards and backwards and forwards. And the same has happened in marketing. Company A has got some new whizzy thing on Canva and using AI video. Oh, hey, that's great. And yet company B goes, oh, that looks good. Oh, we're going to get that. So they get the same. So then they've leveled out. So then company A has said, oh, we're going to have to do something different. So what's happened now is every single micro business has in their fingertips the ability to create amazing content now. But it's not real, and it's not authentic, and it's not engaging, and it's not really going to cut the mustard. Yes, you can create an AI image. So I did it tongue in cheek. I live in Tunbridge Wells. We have no water. We have no water for 5 days. So as a joke, I decided I don't post very much on social media, but I posted on Facebook, and I went to AI and said, can you create me a picture of someone who's not washed for days and is angry about the fact there's no water? And there was like a caveman by a tap. And it was a lovely little image, and it was a bit of fun. But that in itself is not marketing now. And that's not necessarily good enough.
It also gets very boring. I don't know if you remember on LinkedIn, not so long ago, just a couple of months ago, everybody was posting pictures of these dolls in boxes with their heads on them. The first time it was great fun, and our team did it too, sadly. But once everyone's doing it, the people who are watching are getting really bored. Something that did stand out for me over the weekend, I usually over the weekend have a look through my LinkedIn, and I saw a post. It was a corporate, I can't remember which one it was, but on LinkedIn in the post it said, "Hi Sheila." And how did they get my name into, it's getting more and more sophisticated. Okay, the first time someone does that, the second time or the third time, it grabs your attention, but then you're not standing out anymore once everybody else is doing the same thing.
So some questions to think generally about your content. So do you know the engagement rate on the content you're creating? And these go for any size of business. Even you're a tiny micro business, you only might literally send out a newsletter once every 6 months. It's still content and you're still trying to engage with people. So do you know the engagement rate? So are people opening your emails? Are they engaging with your emails? Are people engaging with your website? Is your social media doing anything? Is it really engaging? Are people liking your content? Are you struggling to come up with really good, regular and fresh ideas for content all the time? Because it's really hard. It's like you're a micro business and every day I've got to post on this and I've got to do that. And it's like, I don't know what to post. I'm not a creative. I'm not a journalist. I'm not a broadcaster. And it just, going back to Spudman, what's really interesting is that there are a small number of people who are what you call creators now. So these are people online and they're creators because they instinctively know how to entertain. Now, it doesn't matter. They could be an accountant, they could be a hairdresser, they could be a bloke selling spuds, but they are effectively creators. They understand it. But they only make up point something % of small businesses. Your average Joe Schmo small business is not a creative, is not a creator. Therefore, it is going to always be much harder. But there's lots of things that you can do.
I'll just give you a bit of insight on that as well. LinkedIn is the platform that I use. Generationally, it's probably correct. But I find, firstly, I'm not one of those people who posts all the time. David and I are very different in our styles in that sense. I don't post the "I am here" posts because I don't have time. I'm not that fast at the creating a post side of things. What I do is I post occasionally, but I post really thoughtful, considered, data-backed type posts. And for me, they work. Those will get me that 1 or 2% engagement that is the maxed engagement that I'm going to get on LinkedIn. So don't think that and it's also not just about when you're understanding the rate of engagement of your post. It's not just what's at the front. It's not how many people have clicked like on my LinkedIn post. It's the impressions and all that other data behind it. How many impressions are there? Do they say anything? Which types of individuals, split by the sector that they come from? Does that say something about the kind of people who? All of that data is useful or can be useful in helping you drive sales.
The third one is, do you have a content reservoir? So it's ironic considering I live in an area with no water. So we do have a reservoir, but the reservoir doesn't seem to be able to go into the taps at the moment. But if you are a business, it doesn't matter what size, you're going to need some content on a regular basis. And if you haven't got it, you can't use the channels. And therefore is, how do you get it? So that's a question. Have you got a reservoir or a muddy puddle? And then finally, what about your competitors? What are they doing? Again, in years and years of training, I've said, if you don't want to believe me, my loud shirt, and the fact that I've been in marketing for years, go and find one of your competitors. Because if you say you're a florist, and you say, oh, but I'm a florist, I don't know what to do. It's like, well, there's probably a florist somewhere in East Sussex who's smashing it out the park. Go and look at what they're doing. Don't listen to me then. Go and look at what your contemporaries are doing and then learn from them. Don't steal from them, obviously, but you can learn from them. So this one should be a humdinger of one. This is actually half a day. John is my co-trainer. Now, John has developed a technique for training everyone, people like us, on our own phones to shoot professional video. So he's going to look at storytelling, video creation, and I'm going to look at the strategy and how you pull it all together, no matter what size business you are. But this is a really vital one, because if you've got content, you've got options.
Right, we're running out of time, so I'm going to zip through the remaining workshops. Yes.
Yep, these are all the dates on the top.
All of this information, all of the details about the workshops and the dates are all on our website as well. If you look in the cover of your notebook, there is a postcard there. If you scan that QR code or go to our website, all of the information about all 6 workshops is there now. So workshop 4, my favourite subject, because I am very much a data-driven person, how to make data not overwhelming, not too technical, but genuinely useful. And the reason this matters is because data gives you clarity. It shows what's working, what's not, and where your business might be leaking time and or money. Now, I've already said that 52% of adults in the UK lack basic essential digital skill, which means that SMEs are trying to grow without the insight they need to confidently make decisions about their business. And what this workshop does is it helps you make sense of numbers, the numbers that you already have actually within your business. And it helps you make sense of your customer journey with those numbers, your sales, your costs, and how they all connect together, and helps you make better choices. It also helps you focus on useful metrics rather than what I call vanity metrics. So instead of obsessing over likes and impressions, as I said, what's visible at the front, you'll start focusing on the data that actually drives inquiries and revenues. So this workshop is led by Suman Randhawa. She's an award-winning consultant, sales consultant with over 30 years of experience. You will absolutely love her. We have hired her for our own team to have to help us better have difficult conversations around sales. And she was absolutely fantastic. She's also an author. She recently published a book called More Heart, Less Hustle, which focuses on how to attract and convert clients in a more sustainable and values-driven way. She's brilliant. You'll love her. So the questions here: do you review your financial and marketing data regularly? We're saying monthly. Maybe you get a management information report about your finances on a monthly basis. Are you reviewing that and the data behind it that frequently? And do you understand your customer journey? We've already talked somewhat about that, from awareness to purchase. Do you know which business metrics are key, most important for your business? And do you have a basic CRM in place? And do you know how to get data out of it?
And by the way, a basic CRM could be your phone. That's how basic it can be. So it's a phone and you've got contacts on it. That's the CRM. Or it could be an Excel spreadsheet or a card index.
Or a Wix platform, or,
yes, or
whatever else.
Yeah.
It can be quite simple to quite sophisticated. Okay, workshop 5. This one's all about AI and automation, and specifically what tools actually mean for an SME in plain English. And as I said, there are so many tools out there now. No jargon, no hype. We're going to just reveal the everyday uses that can genuinely make life easier for you in your business.
Are they one after the other?
They are in that order, yes. Date-wise, they are as well. So we've done them in the order that we think they follow on from each
So
other.
the customer journey on your opening page, you
Yeah.
had AI automations 4.
Yeah.
And business marketing finance data is 5. And then it's
Yeah.
the way around. Just a little note.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Always good to know.
Have a look. We'll have a look at that.
Yeah.
We'll make sure it's in the right order. Okay.
Are the dates the same? Because the dates on both slides are the same.
Yeah, they are.
Oh, no, sorry. If you look at the
website.
So, yeah, I made a mistake on this slide.
Okay, just double checking.
It's all right. Good to spot.
All right. A UK study found that 60% of small businesses struggle to adapt or adopt new technologies because they lack the time or the technical skills. So, which means that many SMEs are missing out on tools that could save them absolutely hours each week. And we don't want to cut jobs, but if your business is not making the money you need it to make, that is what you will have to do. But how can you keep what that person, what that individual was doing going in your business? So I know that there's a lot of controversy around AI, but there are lots of benefits to it too. Okay, so in this workshop, we'll explore the key AI platforms, how they can help SMEs right now, and look at the everyday tasks that AI can support you with. We'll look at affordable automation tools like Zapier and IFTTT, which connect apps and help automate repetitive tasks within your business too. We'll also look at CRMs. And Charlotte Webb, nothing to do with the spider or the pig or the book or the movie, will actually go through one demonstration of setting up an AI workflow and how that can help you, to give you some ideas. Importantly, this workshop also covers the risks and limitations of AI. We know that not everybody is happy with AI, not everybody is comfortable with AI. We'll be talking about that as well, and where it can and where it can't help you, so that you've got some quality control, where to use your judgment, and to avoid getting lost with AI. You'll also spend time in small groups brainstorming about a very practical question: what can I automate tomorrow? And it's a great way to spot quick wins and save time within your business. So Charlotte Webb, she is an AI operations and transformation lead at a business called Artemis Marketing. Is that a local business to him?
It's in West Sussex.
Okay. She spent years helping businesses understand how modern AI can support day-to-day operations. She's absolutely brilliant at making what is quite a complex and controversial topic very straightforward and practical for SMEs. So do you currently use any tools or workflows that automate repetitive tasks in your business? If you don't, maybe there's something you could take away from this workshop. Have you tried using AI or automation to solve challenges within your business? Maybe you don't have an individual there to do that for you. Can AI help you with that? And are you and your team comfortable with adopting new technology? As we said, over 60% of individuals or businesses aren't. Do you believe you're getting the most out of your CRM, whether that's your phone or whether that's a Wix platform?
So just an example. So we also have some private clients we work with at PwC, and one of mine is a mortgage brokers, and they've got 76,000 clients. They have HubSpot, and what they've got is thousands of clients. They have a CRM system, and essentially marketing now is about creating dynamic computer programs within the CRM. So all you're doing is you just shove a load of content into the top of the hopper. You've got the contacts coming in elsewhere, and then what you're doing is you're creating these very, very sophisticated programs where if client A does this, then that happens. If it does this, then that happens. And it is all automated. So there is a big distinction between AI and automation. So if you've got, and again, might be for slightly bigger businesses, but if you're using even something like MailChimp, which is an email delivery system, within MailChimp you can create flows and segments, and that is automation, because you're telling it to do something when you're not doing it, so it automatically reaches out. So this is where my brain hurts. Because I'm creative, and my dad was a computer programmer and he would understand this. So it's bizarre that my dad is a computer programmer who's very introverted, would quite like marketing now, whereas I struggle with marketing. Anyway, there you go. That's how things are changing.
Okay. And the final workshop, if I had to pick one, this would be the one that I would attend, even though I love data and I'm love to know about AI and automation. Cyber safety. In fact, yesterday I was at the Enterprise Research Council's annual conference, and this is an annual event. Lots of high-profile people there. The Government Commissioner for Small Businesses, Emma Jones, was there. They were looking at the state of small business in Britain. There was a lot of discussion about the budget, but the other key topic that was focused on was cyber safety for small businesses. And there was a professor there, a professor of cybersecurity from Nottingham University, and he told us that 62% of SMEs outsource their cybersecurity but lack in-house knowledge and skills. Now, there is absolutely no point in feeling that you've done the job, ticked the box and outsourced everything cybersecurity related if, as the example I gave you, you have an incident in your business and you don't know how to recognize it, or you don't know immediately what you should do. Whatever you're paying that external cybersecurity business is completely wasted. Okay, so if there's one workshop I would attend, it would be this one, regardless of the size of your business. And actually, small and medium-sized businesses, small businesses, I think he told us 57%, and medium-sized businesses, 67%, have identified data breaches or attacks in the last 12 months. And that's data from the Cybersecurity Breaches Survey, which is a national survey in the UK. Okay, so don't think that just because you're not a large corporate, you're not at risk. You're not a Jaguar Land Rover. Even ChatGPT has been hacked recently. Facebook, who else? Gucci. They've all been hacked, but don't think that it's only those kinds of businesses. Small and medium-sized businesses are also at very high risk. So phishing attacks, online scams, device theft, systems going down and at the worst possible moment. It's also always at the worst possible moment, as was ours on the 2nd or 3rd of January of this year.
Invoice hacking as well.
Invoice hacking. And the reality is that small businesses are often the easiest targets, actually. This workshop takes you through the fundamentals of good cyber hygiene. Things like strong passwords, multi-factor authentication, regular backups, and keeping your devices updated. And all of this might sound simple, but actually it's the biggest line of defense against most threats that your business will face. It also looks at how to protect client data with really clear, plain English. We'll give you an overview of GDPR essentials that you can actually implement in your business. It's not about making you a legal expert, which often feels the case with GDPR. It's about helping you avoid the most common and actually the most costly mistakes, and you don't actually realize until it happens. There's a section on using cloud tools securely, spotting suspicious emails and calls, and that's not only important for you, it's important for every single member of your team, knowing which emails you shouldn't click through to, and also to understand which affordable security tools can make a difference: password vaults, antivirus protection, and VPNs, etc. You'll also look at a few what would you do if scenarios, so you can think about how you would respond if something did go wrong within your business from a cybersecurity perspective. We'll also look at business continuity and what actually happens if your systems go down. How do you keep your business going? And for those of you ready to take the next step, we'll touch on things like Cyber Essentials certification and other similar certificates, as well as cyber insurance, what it covers, what it doesn't, and how you know you've got the right level of insurance for your business. So this particular workshop is led by Simon Clark. He's the founder of Fortnet, a cybersecurity business. He has over 25 years of experience protecting businesses from digital threats. Simon is absolutely brilliant at cutting through complexity and turning cybersecurity into something practical. The questions you want to ask yourself is, do you have a data protection policy in place? Do you have cyber insurance so that you can be protected if that event were to take place? And if so, do you know what it requires for you to have in place? So your cyber insurance will only be valid, just like any other insurance, if you've got that the Yale lock that you need for your front door, what is it called? A 5-point
lock,
a 5-point lock, yeah. So this is the equivalent of that. So if your house is burgled and you've said you've got a 5-point lock, but you haven't, your insurance doesn't cover you. And then finally, do you have a risk register or a business continuity plan? What to do if it does happen? Next slide.
So that's pretty much it. As I said, you've got a postcard. On the back of it is details on the 6 workshops. There's a QR code which takes you straight through to the landing page where there's comprehensive information there. So anyone from your business can attend. So if you're here and there's someone else in the business, both of you can attend the workshop. There's not a limit. please feel free, if there's the decision makers, or maybe there's Luddites in the business who you're trying to convince to do something and they don't understand it, drag them along. These are fully funded, so all of us who are doing these workshops have decades and decades of experience. We are proper trainers. We are not sort of people on the back of a fag packet in the pub coming up with some little tips for what you can do. We would normally be charging hundreds of pounds a day for high-level consultancy work, and we are delivering it completely free because it has been funded through East Sussex County Council, Growth Hub and the government. What we really want is as many businesses in the county to understand and find out about these things, because every single business in the county will be able to benefit from at least one of these workshops. Now, we know that some people are already starting to book up to 5, because it's like, oh, I might as well do a marketing MBA qualification in modern digital skills. But the purpose of these workshops, what the county wanted was to help improve economic prosperity within the county. So if you can spread the word, we've got postcards. If there are people you know, if there are places you know, like community centres or pubs or hubs or whatever, please spread the word, because we want as many people to find out.
Take as many postcards as you would like to disseminate.
That is all from us. Are there any questions? We've gone slightly over time, but I feel that it was beneficial because there's a lot to go through.
I think it's extremely good. It'll be very interesting going forward. Well done. Yeah.
I think sometimes fully funded gets dismissed by SMEs. But for example, when we hired Suman to come and work with our team for the day, we paid close to £2,000. That is money that you are not having to pay. You want to get a cybersecurity assessment done? We did a GDPR assessment. We paid somebody £1,000 to do that. We hold a lot of data, a lot of client data. So this is fully funded. These are very good quality, high level workshops. Please encourage as many businesses as you know to benefit from them. Thank you very much. Thank you. Can I ask one thing? One thing we did forget to do. If I just send the back of this sheet round, if you could just write your name and the organisation you've come from. I'll just send this one round and just pass it down. I'd be very grateful.